After my divorce, my husband dumped me on the sidewalk with one suitcase. That same night, I remembered an old bank card my dad once gave me. The next morning, I tried to use it, and the teller turned ghost white. "Ma'am, please don't move. I need you to come with me. Now." I thought I was about to get arrested. But what I found out behind that counter, it didn't just change my life. It exposed the man I married. My name is Evelyn Carter. I'm 34. And 3 days ago, I was still someone's wife. Not the perfect wife. Not the Instagram wife. Just the kind who held everything together. I cooked. I cleaned. I hosted his clients. I stopped working full-time because Darren, my husband, kept saying, "Focus on us. Focus on the home. I'll handle the money." And I believed him. Until the morning he asked me to sign a few final papers after the divorce. He said it was just routine. It wasn't. 2 hours later, I was standing outside our house in Maplewood Heights, in the rain, holding one suitcase like a stranger, while he changed the lock code right in front of me. No warning. No conversation. No, let's figure this out. Just cold. Darren stood in the doorway, arms crossed like a judge. Behind him was Sloane, his business partner who suddenly started showing up at every dinner, the same woman who used to laugh at my jokes like we were friends. She was already inside, barefoot on my rug. Darren looked at me and said, "You signed. The house is mine. The accounts are mine. You'll be fine. Go stay somewhere." I whispered, "Darren, I don't even have my wallet. You took my cards." He smiled like I was being dramatic. "Don't make this ugly." And the door closed. That's how I ended up at a cheap motel off Riverbend Parkway with $61 in cash and a mind that would not stop spinning. That first night, I didn't sleep. Not because of the mattress. Because of the silence. No dishwasher running. No TV in the background. No Darren checking his emails. Just me, staring at the ceiling, realizing I had given 12 years to someone who could erase me in a single afternoon. At around 2 a.m., I started digging through my suitcase. Not for comfort. For survival. Something I could sell. A necklace. A watch. Anything. That's when I found it. A small envelope, pressed flat in the inner pocket of an old denim jacket I hadn't worn in years. The front had faded handwriting. For Evie. Only if you really need it. My father's handwriting. My chest tightened. My dad, Frank Carter, died when I was 19. He wasn't rich. He worked maintenance at a public school. He wore the same boots until they almost fell apart. He was the kind of man who'd rather fix something than replace it. I opened the envelope carefully. Inside was an old bank card. The numbers were worn. The strip was scratched. It looked ancient. And a note, "If the world ever gets hard, this is your safety net. Love you always." I sat on the motel bed, holding that card like it was a memory. I assumed it had maybe $50. Enough for food. Enough to breathe for a week. The next morning, I went to Lakeshore Federal Bank downtown, an old building with stone columns, the kind of place that makes you feel underdressed no matter what you wear. I waited in line behind people with suits and coffee cups that cost more than my breakfast. My hands were sweating. When it was my turn, I stepped up to the counter and said softly, "I'm sorry, this card is really old. My dad gave it to me. I just want to check if there's anything on it." The teller was a calm-looking man, maybe in his late 50s. His name tag said Mr. Caldwell. He smiled kindly. "Let's take a look." He took the card, studied it, and slid it through his reader. At first, nothing happened. Then the screen changed. And I watched the life drain out of his face. His smile disappeared. His hand tightened on the mouse. He blinked hard, like he couldn't be seeing what he was seeing. He looked up at me and whispered, "Ma'am, I need to verify your identity." My stomach dropped. I immediately thought, my dad did something illegal. Or worse, the card belonged to someone else and I'd just walked into a crime. He pressed a button under the counter. Within seconds, a security guard appeared. Then another. People started staring. Mr. Caldwell leaned forward and said, very quietly, "Please, come with me behind the counter. Right now." My legs felt weak. I followed him through a side door into a small office. The guards followed. The door shut behind us. I sat down like I was waiting to be questioned. Mr. Caldwell pulled up paperwork on his computer and asked for my license. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. He checked my name. My date of birth. He asked my father's name. Then he paused. He looked at me like he didn't know whether to apologize or congratulate me. Finally, he turned the screen toward me. "Ma'am, I need you to look at this." I leaned forward. There were account numbers, a trust name, a beneficiary line. And then I saw the balance. My brain refused it. I stared, counted the commas, and shook my head. No. That's not possible. Mr. Caldwell swallowed. "It is." I whispered, "How much?" He said it like he was afraid the room might explode. 42,600,000, and I stood up so fast my chair scraped. The room tilted. My ears rang. I felt heat rush into my face. "That's not, my dad was a school maintenance worker." Mr. Caldwell nodded slowly. "I believe your father was a very smart man who lived a very quiet life." He clicked through documents. 23 years ago, your father owned a small parcel of land on the edge of the city. It was worthless back then, industrial, abandoned warehouses. I stared at him. "My dad owned land?" He nodded. "A developer wanted it. Your father refused to sell for a one-time payout. He negotiated a percentage agreement tied to whatever was built on it." My mouth went dry. "What was built?" Mr. Caldwell's eyes met mine. The Horizon Quarters complex. The luxury towers, the shops, the entire district. My heart pounded. Everyone in town knew Horizon Quarters. It had turned an ugly part of the city into a billionaire playground. Mr. Caldwell kept going, voice calm like he'd said this before. "For years, profits were deposited into a trust. Your father set it up to transfer to you at 18. But the bank's letters went to an old address. The account stayed dormant, accumulating, reinvesting." I whispered, "Why didn't he use it?" Mr. Caldwell paused. "I can't answer that. But I can tell you this." He clicked once more, then pointed to a warning label on the account. "Security flag, attempted inquiry/identity verification failed." My blood went cold. 3 months ago, he said quietly, someone tried to access information about this trust using your personal details. Not you. We blocked it. 3 months ago. That was right before Darren filed for divorce. I felt the pieces connect like a knife sliding into place. Darren had rushed me through paperwork. He'd taken everything legally. He'd left me broke on purpose. Because he thought I'd panic and come crawling back. Because he assumed, if I discovered a fortune while desperate, I'd offer to be fair. Mr. Caldwell looked at me gently. "Ma'am, you need a lawyer today. And you need to be careful. Money like this makes people dangerous." I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, stunned, and whispered something I didn't even realize I believed until it came out. My dad saved me, even after he was gone. Mr. Caldwell nodded once, slow. Yes. And that's when I made my first decision as a woman who finally had options. I wasn't going back to Darren. Not for revenge. Not to beg. Not to explain. I was going to do what my father always taught me, move quiet, but move smart. That night, I checked into a new hotel under a different name. My new attorney, Marianne Holt, set up protection around the trust and flagged every agency that needed to be flagged. And the next day? Darren called. From a blocked number. His voice was sweet like poison. Evie. I think we should talk. We built a life together. I smiled so hard it almost hurt. No, Darren, I said calmly. You built a trap. I built an exit. I hung up. And for the first time in months, I breathed. Because the truth is, the best revenge isn't destroying the person who tried to ruin you. It's becoming untouchable.